But before we get to Mitch, let's talk about Germany's far-right comeback from the New York Times. And then we'll get to Mitch in a second.
Needs saving, according to Elon Musk. But don't worry, we know what we are doing. And we know who we are. We are Germans. We are good at inventing long, complicated words, and we are really cool and relaxed. But of course, there's something else we Germans were really good at: inventing Nazis. Germany may have lost 1 or 2 world wars, but we successfully turned it into a win. And we became Vergangenheitsbewältigungsweltmeister. We are world champions at confronting our history, a title we've...
I don't know if I would agree to that. I think it's not even like recent acts. I mean, every German can turn around and say, "says you," to me right now, because I live in America. Okay? Oh, he's not serious.
Held for 80 years in a row. We won this title by virtue signaling, but with a German twist. We are not just signaling virtue to others, but also to our own guilty conscience. Living in Germany means being constantly reminded of our past.
It's satire? Excuse me. I've never seen a fucking German try to do comedy before, okay? Give me a break. Literally the most autistic nation on the planet, with the exception of Japan.
Every day, 24/7, for now 80 years, we've been telling ourselves, never again. Remembrance of the Holocaust is everywhere in Germany, a country stacked with memorials. Memorials, 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 just in case we forget to never forget. Unfortunately, never again didn't come with a manual on how to never again. Our German extreme right party, the AfD, is projected to win almost every 5th vote in our national election this February. The party is called the Alternative für Deutschland, which literally means alternative for Germany. And they will probably become the 2nd largest party in German parliament, out of around half a dozen. Here is what one of the AfD's leading figures thinks of German never again.
Wir brauchen nichts anderes als eine erinnerungspolitische Wende.
Björn Höcke is the history teacher that's the fucking straight up Nazi. He is Pimmel.
180 Grad.
I know it's subtle, but AfD's Björn Höcke might sound a bit Hitleresque, which is French for slightly concerning. Höcke recently won a state election in Eastern Germany, securing the first far-right win in a state election since World War II. He, by the way, can legally be called a fascist, as the German court has ruled in one case. So, should the rest of the world be worried about a big German fascist comeback? Jawohl, aber hallo, und zwar so richtig. Yes, you should be worried. Let me explain why. And since I'm German, my explanation, of course, will be pointlessly complicated and inspiringly brutal, like our traditional German bedtime stories. For instance, the one about a boy named Konrad who wouldn't stop sucking his thumbs until they were cut right off. Just for educational purposes, of course. So, the AfD...
Brothers Grimm, dude. Genuinely the most freakish shit. Yo, I swear, when you learn about German history and German culture, you understand how the Nazis happened. Also, that's the reason why I was like, Germans are incapable of making a joke. That's why I was shocked when the guy was being sarcastic and joking.
Was founded in 2013, and it primarily opposed EU policies. Then, it quickly radicalized anti-Semitism, anti-Muslim, anti-migrant, anti-establishment, and
Isn't AfD also pro-Israel, though?
anti-mainstream media. The AfD worked and works the authoritarian playbook. And now they are twisting the truth by hijacking our world-renowned, beautiful German language. Vogelschiss in der Geschichte. A speck of bird shit in German history. That's what one of the AfD's founders called Germany's Nazi past, meaning the Holocaust was just a speck of bird shit in our overall successful history. Success, of course, meaning constantly losing world wars. So far. When Elon Musk, the man who would never salute Nazis, recently interviewed AfD's chairwoman Alice Weidel on X, she gave another vibrant example on how AfD mastered blatant truth twisting.
The biggest success after that terrible era in our history was to label Adolf Hitler as right and conservative. He was exactly the opposite. He wasn't a conservative. He wasn't a libertarian. He was a communist, socialist guy.
Why not try a one?
Amazing. Yeah. Night of the Long Knives was leftist infighting. You know how the left is.
180-degree turnaround from the truth. Let's try. But these obvious little rhetorical tricks are
It's so funny because they're like holding on to a position simultaneously where they're saying like Adolf Hitler was bad because he was a socialist, but also he was misunderstood and not that bad. Great. Okay. Like, how the fuck does that make any sense?
actually effective, thanks to one special German way to cope with our past. Geschichtsvergessenheit. Geschichtsvergessenheit means actively forgetting our, let me put it this way, ambiguous past, despite the endless memorials. Because honestly, having to confront your own history can be really, really exhausting for us Germans. But Geschichtsvergessenheit is not a concept the AfD just recently invented. In 1952, for instance, Konrad Adenauer, one of the founding fathers of our modern democratic Germany, signed a Wiedergutmachungsabkommen, a reparations agreement, yet another beautiful, accessible German word. And did you know, also a pretty common girl's name in Bavaria. Ah, there's little Wiedergutmachungsabkommen. Look at her cute blonde pigtails. Come over, Wiedergutmachungsabkommen. The Schweinebraten is ready in the oven. The Wiedergutmachungsabkommen was our post-war reparations agreement.
Bro, NetzDG is like supposed to be the anti-hate speech statute in Germany. It is so fucking difficult to say. It's like Netzwerk Boo. I have no idea how to say it. NetzDG.
With Israel, but most modern democratic Germans have conveniently forgotten Adenauer's real motives.
Die Macht der Juden, auch heute noch, insbesondere in Amerika, soll man nicht unterschätzen. Und daher habe ich sehr überlegt und sehr bewusst, und das war von jeher meine Meinung, meine ganze Kraft daran gesetzt, so gut es ging, eine
Amazing. He said the Jews are too powerful of a force to be reckoned with. That's why we had to do reparations.
Versöhnung herbeizuführen zwischen dem jüdischen Volk und dem deutschen Volk.
In other words, beware. The Jews are still powerful, even though we try to kill them all. So from now on, we better be nice to them. And then all is wieder gut again. Thank you, Konrad Adenauer. But Nazis never really went away in both Germanys. In the 2000s, a neo-Nazi terrorist group murdered at least 10 people. Their racist crimes continued for years because the German public and police could not even fathom that neo-Nazis could be responsible. Instead, they just publicly blamed immigrants for supposedly killing each other. Why are we Germans so blatantly dismissive towards the collective affection for the far right? Partly because in Germany, there's a discrepancy between collective memory and...
I'm not going to lie. This is probably the most radical criticism of Germany that you're going to hear. Even in terms of like their commitment and allegiance to Israel, like this, like I'm actually kind of shocked. Like I'm sure this guy is not anti-Zionist or whatever, but it's like kind of shocking that here comes the anti-Deutsche Jan Böhmermann. I suspect that he is. I suspect that he, much like every other prominent German, is probably super libbed up and super Zionist, but
and individual guilt. We acknowledge our grim past, never again, yada, 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 but our ancestors, like personally, our families, ourselves, we had nothing to do with it whatsoever. Yes, my great-grandfather was in the Waffen-SS, but he was a cook. And the lasagna he made in Stalingrad tasted like Schuhsohlenauflauf. So basically, he tried to destroy the Waffen-SS from within. Where's his memorial? By virtue signaling to our own guilty conscience, we got rid of our Nazi past. Germans have sworn...
Does he extend this to Islamophobia? Or even like endless support to Israel too? Because he's 100% nailing the fake virtue signaling aspect of I think, as far as what I've seen, like the German collective consciousness surrounding the Holocaust and these war crimes and the atrocities during World War II, and how like modern Germany reflects on it. It's very interesting to hear a German say these sorts of things. It also does play a way, like a comfortable narrative, to claim that Islamophobia is valid, and also modern anti-Semitism does not come from the Germans, but it comes from anti-Israel sentiment, which Muslims are trafficking.
To never again so many times that it became an empty phrase. And when a new right-wing leader calls for a 180-degree turnaround on never again, we also don't take it seriously because it somehow feels empty as well. Because no matter what we do, Germans can't be Nazis again. That's the space in which the AfD operates. They can say and do Nazi things as long as they aggressively deny that anyone was ever a Nazi. It's like giving the Hitler salute in front of a large crowd of right-wing extremists while denying being a Nazi. It's a narrative that seems to be successful all over the world. We aren't Nazis, we just don't fully support liberty, equality, and the rule of law. We aren't Nazis, we just want white supremacy. The AfD is not the new Nazi party, they just want Germany to be great again. And that's why now in Germany, the Kacke ist am Dampfen.
That was great. I'm shocked. But like I said, of course he's pro-Israel.